In the Saddle with Sheriff Richard K. Jones.
How's everybody doing today? I'm Sheriff Rick Jones. This is with me, Detective Ventre from the Butler County Sheriff's Office. Welcome to Back in the Saddle with the Sheriff's Office here in Butler County, Ohio. And today we're going to talk about a cold case. We done one the last time, and it was our most viewed. We got a few we're going to be running. This is a very, very unique cold case. It's got lots of twists and turns. People like to look at these, and we got a lot of armchair detectives out there, and you'd be surprised what we get when we get to talking to people and they give information up or what they can remember. This is a tragic case, but with all the information we have and with DNA, we're very fortunate on solving some of these cases. And today, we want everybody to pay attention and watch, and anybody that knows any information on this cold case. This person her name was Beverly Krause. Am I saying it correctly?
Yes, sir.
Beverly Krause, a mother of 3 children, went missing on July the 14 of 74 in Louisville, Kentucky. Body was found in a sludge pit July the 18th, 1974 on 128 in Ross Township, Ohio. Somebody out there knows this information about this case. We got a lot to talk about. So without further ado, Detective, tell them where this all starts. But I will say this, when this took place, you were how old?
1 year old.
1 year old. I was 18 years old and was just getting out of high school. So this goes way back, but we believe we can solve this with their help. Go ahead and explain how it all starts.
Thank you, sir. So on July 18th, 1974, the Sheriff's Office received a call from workers at the Champion International Paper Company. They have a sludge pit on State Route 128
Okay.
in Ross Township in Butler County, Ohio. They noticed a strange object floating in there. As they took a closer look, they found that there was a body. So the Sheriff's Office investigators and deputies, as well as the coroner, which was Dr. Boone at the time, all went out to the scene. When they saw the body, they instructed them to remove the body from the sludge pit. As they did an inspection of it, they believed it to be a female in her 20s. I believe they have red hair. She had blue jeans on. She was barefoot, had a red checkered shirt on. Partially clothed. Some of the body parts were exposed. She had a tattoo on her lower abdomen that said "Property of Tom." The head and the face was badly decomposed, so they couldn't get any facial features or anything of that nature. The sludge pit was ordered to be drained. When they drained it, there was a class ring found in there with the initials DDC on it, and it said from Liberty High School. Later on, they found that this was a high school out of Kentucky. And so at that point in time, investigators are trying to find out who this individual was. They had no leads. They put things out in the media. It was highly publicized. They received a tip from a person calling in saying, "I believe this could be a person that's missing from Tennessee." At that point in time, investigators reached out to, I believe it was the Tennessee Sheriff's Association, asking for some help to kind of get word out to see if this could be anybody in the Tennessee area. They were contacted by a lady, Mary Asbury, stating this could be my daughter. So they go and meet with her, and they take some post-mortem photographs for her to view.
Explain to the people what post-mortem, what it means.
So basically, pictures that were taken probably at the scene and during the time of the autopsy and everything, after everything, the body was kind of cleaned up and things like that.
Okay.
So with those pictures, said similar clothing to what she usually wore. Dental work was kind of similar. And with this class ring, the mother said her daughter, which was Kathy Asbury, had a class ring given to her by a cousin. A cousin found a class ring and gave her a class ring, and she wore it around her neck on a necklace. Didn't know from really where, but said she believed it was a Kentucky high school. So that's one of the things she made a correlation with. And with all that being said, she said, "This is my daughter, Kathy." So then the coroner, several weeks later, ruled that, this is Kathy Asbury.
How long had she been gone at that point?
At that point in time, she went missing in July, and this was January of 75. She went missing in July of 74, and this is January.
Okay.
January 5th January 4th of 1975 is when she said, "This is my daughter."
Okay.
So then on January 21st, Dr. Boone, the coroner, ruled that he believes this is Kathy from, the identification given by the mother, ruled that this was Kathy Asbury, and ruled the cause of death to be drug poisoning. He stated he didn't know if it was accidental or if it was intentionally inflicted upon her. At that point in time, the body was released and transported to Lone Mountain, Tennessee, where the body was laid to rest at that time.
And why there?
Because that's where she was from, and that's where the parents lived.
Okay.
So that's where she got sent back home.
Okay, sent back home and was buried there.
Yes.
Okay.
So then that was, like I said, that was January of 1975. A couple months later, in April of 1975, all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, and Mom opens it up, and there's her daughter, Kathy, that she believed to be the one that was deceased and buried in Lone Mountain, Tennessee. She was alive and well.
It's a crazy world you live in, but you depend on the coroner and everybody. And there were so many similarities at that time, and they didn't have the technology that they have today,
Right.
with DNA and computers at that time. Like people have to realize this. You were 1 year old when this
Right.
took place.
Yeah.
And I was just getting out of high school, and we didn't even have computers. We didn't have cell phones, and communications with other law enforcement had to be with a rotary phone. And there wasn't any internet or where you could share information and you could just Google things. So at this point, what took place when she identified and it was determined that that was her daughter?
Right. So at that point in time, then the investigators had to just start looking for, instead of what happened to the body and how did the body get there, who is it again? So it seemed like for several years, tips came in, nothing really panned out. So then in 1984, it was said that the sheriff's office reopened the case again, trying to find out more leads and investigations, nothing. And in 1988, the investigators looked like they put into the FBI database as well as NCIC database physical characteristics and description of the body.
Explain what NCIC is.
It's National Criminal Investigation Center.
Okay.
So basically, all this information as well as the tattoo information was put into this database. And it came back with three possibilities. The best possibility who this was, it came back to Beverly Krause. They were able to get the dental records of her, and they went to a dentist specialist. That specialist looked at the dental records from Beverly Krause, as well as the dental records that I guess were taken at the time of the autopsy. And he said, I believe it's her, but without doing examination of the actual body, he wouldn't make a call. So Butler County Sheriff's Office and I believe the prosecutor's office petitioned the court to exhume the body. Permission was granted, and they went to Lone Mountain, Tennessee, and the body was exhumed and transported back here to Butler County.
People that don't understand what exhume means, that means they remove the body from where the body was buried.
Yes, sir.
And then they do another autopsy, or the dentist looks at the body.
Yes.
Okay.
So when the body came back, the dentist then did confirm indeed that this was Beverly Krause, who went missing from Louisville, Kentucky. At that time, it was Dr. Burkhart at the time that was a coroner. Did a secondary autopsy with assistance of a specialist from the University of Cincinnati. They found that Beverly had been beaten severely. Her jawbone was broken completely in half. She had several broken ribs, and at that time, Dr. Burkhart ruled it a homicide.
Homicide.
And that was in 1988.
1988. Okay. Then in 1988, Where do we go from there?
So then, now knowing who it actually was, the detectives and investigators and everybody at the sheriff's office started coordinating with the Louisville Police Department and asking about Beverly Krause, who they have been investigating as a missing person since 1974.
So everything changed from a missing person to now a homicide.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. So in some of the things that they found in this with, with talking to the Louisville, Police Department, everything, that on July the 6th, 1974, the police were dispatched to Beverly's and her husband, whose name was Tom Pedro Krause, Krause, for a domestic situation. When they got there, Tom had fled, and it was just Beverly there. Beverly had told them that Tom had beat her. They told her that she should file out a warrant. She said at that time she would, but she's afraid because Tom was a member of the Outlaw Motorcycle Club, and that she thinks if she would have him arrested, that he would kill her and or the motorcycle club would. She also pointed out to police that there were several guns there that were stolen guns that were believed to be Tom's and the Outlaw Motorcycle Club.
Okay.
Several days later, her husband was arrested. He was released from jail on, I believe it was July the 10th, 1974, and Beverly went missing just a few days later.
So when he was arrested, he bonded out, I assume, what?
I believe it was bonded out, or, I don't know.
He was released.
Yes, sir.
He didn't do much time at all.
No.
And then a few days later, she went missing.
Funny part about this, he was actually on probation or parole for an incident that he had with a bar owner in Louisville. He was arrested in the shooting death of a bar owner in Louisville and was charged with homicide, with murder. It got dropped down to manslaughter, and surprisingly, he only got sentenced to 5 months probation.
5 months probation. And now his wife is missing.
Yes.
And is there anything else we need people to be aware of on this case?
Just that if anybody has, knows anything about if any of the Outlaw Motorcycle Club individuals, or have heard anything or heard anybody talking about anything, can give us just the littlest information. There's nothing too little. Any kind of information could help us. Even if you think it's small and it wouldn't matter, we need that information.
There's somebody out there watching this right now that has information, and we need your help. We need your help if you're a family member, if you're a friend, if you know anything, if you're watching this from Kentucky, Tennessee, it doesn't matter where you're watching it. We would like to get this case closed, and it's these cold cases are getting closed all over the country, and it's because of the technology, but it's also because of shoe leather, and that's what you're doing. You're out there knocking on doors. We're asking people to help us. We need your help on these cases anywhere. Just not Butler County, Ohio. We have other cases that we're working on also, but we need help on this. Again, if anybody has any information on this cold case, and keep it in mind, her name is Beverly Krause, and she was a mother of 3 children. She went missing on 1974, and it was in Louisville, Kentucky. Body was found in a sludge pit July the 18th, 1974 on 128 in Ross Township, Ohio. Keep us in mind, and if you can help us in any way, we appreciate it. And on behalf of the Butler County Sheriff's Office and Detective Ventre, thank you for your help.